Hello there, and welcome back to episode 3 of my tutorial series for version 66 of Songs of SYX. So, today we are going to go into the whole carpentry and furniture business. So, in the previous episode we have set up a city that can sustain itself quite easily. We have enough happiness that people want to migrate towards our little city. We have capacities that we can upgrade. And yeah, let's go for that. We're also going to refurnish our pasture today, so I'm going to introduce how that works. And let's get started though, first up with the crafting the carpenter. So the carpenter transforms wood into furniture. This is one of the most vital resources in the game, and I'm not over exaggerating. So, carpenters produce noise though. People don't like, or humans don't like noise where they have their housing. This is pretty obvious, but some races like the Cretonians, or no, the Dondorians, they love noise, and Cretonians, they don't mind noise, if I remember correctly. So you should really look it up. I'm going to show you in a second where you can look it up. Anyways, I'm digressing. So I think the carpenter should always go into the vicinity of large forested areas, because that makes the logistics chain short. You want that wood to be in close vicinity to the place where you are processing it after all. So we're setting up the carpenter on this place, and we're making the workshop, well, let's set it up at nice 12 on 12, so we have a little bit of a challenge here. So we are shrinking the room now to get rid of the yellow squares. Like I said, every 4 squares a pillar does the trick, but as you see there's always something remaining. We're going to work it out like that. Here go the doors. And now the carpenter has workbenches where the furniture is being made, auxiliaries to increase the efficiency, and storages where the finished products and the raw materials are being stored and which act as the points where the logistics people will act with the workshop. So, first up, workbenches. The workbenches come in a narrow flavor and in a wide flavor. Personally, well, most people, and me, myself included, that I have been talking about the topic, have preferred the workbenches that go narrow close to the walls. We're going to make this workshop work around 18 employees. That is a nice size, doesn't require too much of an effort, but still does pack quite a punch. So the next step is to put up the auxiliaries to the walls. Wherever you find some room, to increase the efficiency up to 100%, just like that. Last step, add in storage. I personally like to put the storage always into the entrance area, so the logistics people have the shortest possible way. Now, that's that. 18 workers will be processing our timber into furniture here. So that's way more than we have workers currently, but that is not a bad thing. We can select for ourselves how many people will work in there. You could now also go for a smaller workshop if you'd wanted to, but I personally think this size of a workshop is a pretty good size, because you can just control, I think, yeah, it's left shift click to just copy the workshop. So medium-sized workshops like these, you can then use this blueprint to multiply them. Whereas if the workshops are too small, I personally find that too granular. But hey, it's a sandbox city builder game. I really can't say what is the best way, because it's really hard to tell. And it's also not as important as you might think. The fun is way more important. So, our food stockpiles are growing. Now, let's go to the noise thing. This is an environmental effect, and you see here, noise. The noise meter here means that our people have problem with noise, and that means this meter will deplete if we are exposing our housing too much to noise. If you check out the Cretonians, for example, here, it's the opposite. And to make things properly confusing, the Dondorians have that meter too, but in their case it's a like and not a dislike. So I think it would be quite nice if we would have a better visual distinction for that. But well, you have the information from me and you can work with that. So check out how noise works out for your people. Some mind more, some mind less, but the Dondorians are the only people that are freaky enough to love noise. But well, they are the Songs of Six Dwarves, so I guess they like the clanking and hammering of the forges. So we are gonna be picking up more immigrants into our city, as we really need that workforce. But we have now a negative consumption rate. At that point, I just plug in a new fissure, and that's that. We are going to increase our housing by adding in another longhouse. Here at that point, by the way, you can save up some room by adding it not like this, but like that. The both houses will share the middle wall now, and you can save this way a little bit of room, because, you know, it's all about compact living areas in my book. So, this house is important to make the people happy. Ideally, you should always have housing available before you accept people, but sometimes, well, what can I say? We're not living in an ideal world, but that's that. Alright, let's check back with the carpenter. I think we do need more trees to be filled. There we go. Once the carpenter is set up and running, we can also set up proper woodcutters. These will permanently give us a wood income, so we don't have to micromanage the woodcutting anymore. And according to the patch notes of version 66, woodcutters are now more effective. I wonder if they are finally at the point that we will prefer them over micromanaged woodcutting. I very much hope so. For people that are playing the game longer will know that the woodcutter was notoriously underpowered since ages. Maybe version 66 will be finally the savior. Well, jokes aside, we are now providing all the things that our city needs to be happy. And the furniture is giving us plenty of options, but the most important option that furniture provides is science. Science is right now not available. We would be finding it in the laboratories, and it is available. All right, version 66 doesn't have the population unlock of science anymore. Good to know. The previous version, we had to reach a certain population threshold for this to happen. Can we build import depots? No. Those are locked behind a level again. Alright, good to know. Anyways, so we need that though before we can do anything. So let's finish up the job. We have 8 odd jobbers available, which we can put into the carpentry business, and we have a net positive production rate. But we also have livestock piling up in our warehouse, and that is the next thing that I want to take care of as soon as the carpenter is done. So here you see every workshop tries to draw the full set of workers immediately. I don't want that. We are going to set up 5 people here into the workshop. That is going to be more than enough. From this point on, we need to provide wood. Otherwise, the carpenter will have nothing to work with. And to make matters worse, once the carpenter is done depleting all the wood, there will be no wood left for the hearths. Boy, I've had so many people die because of this interaction, so try to avoid it. Maybe the woodcutters will save the day. But the woodcutter is requiring itself furniture. That's why we have to build the carpenter first. Okay. So, we are going to go now next to the pasture. I want to make this thing really big and shiny. So, we have food for 5 days in our pocket. When you are rebuilding your bigger areas where you're making food, you must take into account that while you are refurnituring them, they are not producing anything. So if your food stockpiles are too low, this might actually become a real issue. So if you want to refurniture your food area, having a fishery or something to fall back onto is really good. So here goes. We're selecting that and this icon here to refurnish the room. So here you can now expand the thing. You see here the old borders inside. We're going to go and expand that thing. So, and I'm going to zoom out now because I want to expand it until this happens. You see that red border is the maximum size of this thing. And to maximum size, we want to go because there's really no reason not to. At this point, we will benefit massively from having a massive meadow of this size. Let's just sprinkle these in. And you notice at this point, it becomes more effective to use the larger things like that. Or maybe it's not. I haven't calculated it. But, well, here it goes. So, that is a pretty heavy chunk of wood, but it is also giving us the ability to crank out a lot of meat. That's going to be a lot of meat. We're also going to accept whoever is going to who's ever asking to join us. And, well, this is a pretty sensible operation, as we are now, like I said, dropping from our food production, and currently the fishers are not supplying us completely. But we're going to employ all the fishers, so we get there at least partially, and the rest will be doable. It'll take a couple of days, but don't you worry too much. So we super fast mode forward to that. And we also need to put up crates for the furniture. There we go. Otherwise, it can't be stored. Because you see already that there's a lot of animals being on the stockpile. And here, what happens is we have very low workforce. So I'm going to unemploy the carpenters temporarily, because I really want that pasture refurniture done as quick as we can. So, at times like these, it is totally okay to halt a not so necessary production, because people will become really unhappy if the food production is not there yet. So, you get the idea. So, here we go. Let's hope we have had enough timber. Yes. So from that point on, construction goes down pretty fast. Oh, well, we have a little bit of a wonk in there. Whoopsie. So 21 workers will find space in there. That does not mean that we will have now instantaneously 21 herders working in there. That would be nonsense. That's why we activate here auto-employ as well. That'll adjust the number of people working according to the amount of livestock that we have. From this point on now, we have a constantly evolving production of meat on that pasture that will carry us forward. But it is a very sensible thing. As you saw there, our happiness already went downstairs. I don't know why exactly, but these things can spiral a little bit. So let's check it out. We see that the people went unhappy because food rations got depleted. Here's the thing. So our people, for some reason, have eaten the food rations. Food rations are a weird thing. People are happy just because they are around. If you check it out here. So how many pieces, that is the general storage. Oh, sorry, not the humans. It's been the Cretonians. So Cretonians become extra happy if you have rations as well. Never mind. But generally, if the food meter drops, people become unhappy. So another thing that's worth mentioning is food preferences. That was, by the way, what struck us there. Humans like bread, meat, shrooms, and eggs. Everybody loves something else. In this scenario, our production of food, or production of meat depleted, and that has dropped the happiness of our city, because all of a sudden the tasty meat was not around anymore. Not good. Fish is not nearly as popular, so we're going to notch down our fish production yet again, as we want to have these workers available to make furniture for us. So, with the furniture, the first thing that I want to do is I want to install a hunter. Hunters are excellent early game companions, as they provide lots of food very easily. All they require is a little bit of furniture. They basically produce food out of thin air. Sounds a little bit nonsensical, but they don't need any real game on the map or anything. So the only thing that is worth noting is that hunters suffer from diminishing returns. So if you have too many hunters working on your end, the income per hunter goes down. So there is a sweet spot, I think, of 2 hunters or so. Give me a sec. Butcher tables, yeah, exactly here. So if I remember correctly, it was 8 hunters or so, or 10 when before the diminishing returns kick in. I can't remember anymore. I'm very sorry about the exact numbers, but bottom line is you can't rely on hunters alone. That's what it's all about. And well, but they are really, really excellent to begin with. But you see here already, the furniture cost just for a top-notch efficiency room is quite heavy. So let's see. We can make that cheaper. It's always down to the auxiliaries. You see, we can cut these costs a little bit. But, well, all in all, it's money well spent. The furniture costs for this are a little bit steep, but it provides us even more food. Why am I stockpiling food that much? Because it allows our city to grow easier. The more food we have available, the more of it we can stockpile. Stockpiled food makes happy again, and more food available allows us to just accept more people easier. It is a very, very simple equation like that. Okay, so we have only 4 more housing spots available, so let's build another longhouse around here. Always, like I said, try to keep the housing in the vicinity of the jobs, because otherwise you will end up with people not spending their time too efficiently. Okay. So our furniture workshop is eating up a whopping amount of 15 pieces of timber per day and cranks out only 5 pieces of furniture per day. This is one of the first signs how vicious production chains in this game are. We will eventually make them more efficient and more effective. We get more bang out of our buck eventually, but we have to reach that point of it first. So that's the problem. So, by the way, here we have now also a lot of wood lying around, and the warehouse is not reaching towards there anymore. One easy fix for that problem lies in setting up a hauler. Haulers are just people that pick up stuff and carry it where you tell them to. So here in this scenario, we're going to set up a singular hauling station. And now we select it, and it's supposed to pick up wood. So we go, oh well, that one fella doesn't pick up that far. They got reworked a little bit, but since they don't cost you anything, you don't have to worry about that too much. So we just delete that guy. It's a room. In game terms, the hauler is a room. So you want to set up the hauler somewhere like here, the outer brink of our warehouse. That's where we want to have it. So that little guy then will, see, right? Yeah. That little guy will then haul wood where the warehouse people can pick it up again. So you have to set up these little stations, so to speak. So here goes. Auto employment does the rest of the trick. People are now hauling the timber from up there to over there, and now it's landing properly in our warehouses again. The ranges of the warehouses are very low to begin with, and that is something we need to work with. The haulers are the perfect intermediary transport, and that is a big change between version 66 and version 65. And I think it is a smart one, because it makes clear that we can chop all the wood in the world, but we need to transport it somehow. I like it. I personally really like that change. So let's accept some more people. And once the timber is transported away, we can also cancel the hauler station there yet again when we don't need it anymore. Alright, at the same point, our furniture stockpiles are filling up, which is really, really good. Because we might be producing enough food right there, but we are not producing so much that we start stockpiling it. And right now, that would make people so happy that we could hire, again, more people. You should always try to have something to work towards too, like that. So, for example, here in the services area, we see that here again, there seems to be not enough wells. So, when you click the wells, you see the red squares are obviously areas where people want to use it and they can't, which is pretty weird because this is just around the corner. But let's see. I don't want to say anything wrong here, but the thing there is quite easy. Well, they don't have a lot of load. Okay, then it must be the quality. It's the thing that the low quality buildings can't yield as much fulfillment, and I'd say there is a pretty high chance that, yep, there it goes. So, here to read this properly, we can't increase the number higher than 33%. When you hover it, you see 100% access, 96% proximity, 100% quality, but upgrade 33%. Several buildings in your city can be upgraded once we have the tech for that, which will upgrade the quality, which then will increase the maximum amount of satisfaction that the people can draw out of that. So currently, no matter how many wells we will put up, the quality will never rise above 33%. And with the hearths, it is the same thing. The upgrade level is hindering us from fulfilling the need further. There it goes. It only has one upgrade level, that's why it is on 50%. It's currently on 47%, hinting us that we could use a wee bit more of this service, but well, it's so low that it does almost not count in any way. Alright, so let's fell some trees. Keep that timber flowing. It is insanely important. And let's hire some people. Over here, the hunters are now starting their work. The hunters will produce leather, which we will now be stockpiling henceforth as well. Leather is an amazing resource, as it is going to give us access to something that we can either sell or transform into clothing. As you can see here now, the hunters are producing a grandiose amount of meat. So every hunter, 3 units of meat. This is much more efficient than the herders and much more efficient than the fishers. So at this point, it is for me a smarter choice to turn off the fishery entirely and leave it as something that we can fall back onto if a crisis emerges or if we just need suddenly a higher production of food. It is to no avail to stockpile food that your people don't like too much if you don't want to sell it or you have other plans with it. So, that is the first thing that we do with the furniture. The next thing that we do with the furniture is a market. A market is very similar to the food stalls. It just distributes more mundane wares. Here we go for the same equation. We want, if possible, like 0.9 workers is right now the sweet spot that I found. There we go. This is more than enough for our small fledgling city, and it'll provide the service of marketplaces. This again will make people happier, draw in more people into the city, and right now we are sitting on tremendous amounts of food. We don't need more food in any way. What we now need is more attractivity in the city to make sure the people want to live here. That's what we need. Alright. So here we have a little bit of a loyalty drop again. So we see that religious problems arise. That is something you can't change, though, as far as I see it, people are just pissed that we don't feature the evil gods as well. So the more people you draw into the city, the more diverse the religions grow. So the market accesses now to begin with all manner of different wares. It's, in my opinion, wise to forbid anything that you don't want the market to draw blindly upon, which are these materials. Basically everything that you know you needed elsewhere shouldn't be lying on the market. It's not so much about the things that are lying on the market. We need to put this onto auto-employ as well. It is more about the fact that it is present. Although it is worth mentioning that the market people will draw again these items from the warehouse of their in their vicinity and put it into the market, and again they have a wider range than your warehouses, so you can utilize that at your own discretion. Alright, so we got the market, we got the food stall, and the last thing, food stall, we got the market and the hunter. The last thing that we're now going to put up is the woodcutter. So the woodcutter is a noisy thing, so our people living here would be rather unamused about that. So we're going to start out small. As you see here, this is already providing workplaces for 27 people. That's more than enough. Maybe we want to start out even smaller. So the thing is, this is a workplace that requires furniture. And since we don't have that much furniture production yet, it is not that much of a smart idea to crank it up to the 11. By the way, workplaces here are being generated by area that is on trees. So you see, tree area does generate way more workplace. The blank spots you need to put up the storages and the auxiliaries onto. So here we go. We want a maximum efficiency, and this is very, very furniture intense. That's all I can say. So I think it's in this regard smarter to expand it this far, so we have a little bit of a wider area down there. So let's see. The biggest items have the biggest costs, but they also get the job done fastest. So I'll leave it up to you how much you are willing to be finicking around, but this thing cranks out a whopping amount of 60 wood per day. Well done! Finally, we don't need to micromanage woodcutting anymore. I am more than happy about that. So, this will also eat up a substantial amount of furniture before it is done. Obviously, if I would have been working smarter around the auxiliaries, I would have had less of a consumption there, but, well, for the sake of tutorials, for the sake of the tutorial's length, I did the quick solution. I just want to point out here that the quick solution is also more room efficient. Those smaller auxiliaries are cheaper, but they all need more room. So if you want to have a compact area that is working out nicely, you will have to fall back on the more costly auxiliaries. So that's that. Alright, so the woodcutter will take a while, and I think I'll take the liberty to finish this job behind the scenes, so to speak, and getting this whole thing up and running before I start the next episode, because we will wait for a lot of furniture to be made. I mean, it is only a couple of days. As you see there, we are producing 10 pieces of furniture per day, but you get the idea. My good friends, I thank thee all so much for watching. It's been a blast. I really like this new version, as I love logistical challenges, and there are a lot more logistical challenges than before. That's a good thing to a player like me. Leave me your comments, leave me your thumbs up, consider subscribing, and check out the description box. You will find the playlist link to this entire tutorial series there. And of course, you'll also find other useful links there, my Discord server, my Twitch channel, and last but not least, of course, Patreon, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or the YouTube channel membership, all around for you and ready if you want to spend a dime on my work. I'd be very, very happy about that. Big thanks to all the supporters of Icon Gaming at this point. I deeply appreciate all you wonderful people so much. And a big thanks to you, especially you, watching this video until the very end. That really means a lot to me. Hope you had a good time, and see you all on the next one. Bye bye.